What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily with me, Mike Zakarian, as we continue to figure out what the heck the Boston Celtics are going to do this offseason. We're just a couple of weeks away from the NBA draft. We've got some rumor mill stuff picking up as it sounds like Kevin Durant could get moved any single day now. The drama is real. So speaking of moving people around, we are going to spend this video revisiting some of the Drew Holiday deals that we had talked about in videos from weeks ago. But now that the value, according to the Boston Celtics and some NBA insiders, has changed a little bit, we get a better feel for what the Celtics are asking in return for Drew Holiday. I figured we could look at 4 different situations that the Celtics could target to try to move Drew Holiday to get under that cap and maybe get some pieces back that are either going to help them now or pieces that could be moved to acquire somebody else. Which, by the way, at any point, if we're talking about trades, because I feel like this might have confused some people, if the Celtics get picks back, it doesn't mean they're keeping those picks in their back pocket forever to eventually draft them. I know people think because of the roster we have, we're in win now mode. You can actually acquire a pick and then trade that again. So just know, like, if you're getting a pick back, that's still just an asset to help create another situation where you get another star player back. So it doesn't mean we're actually going tank mode or drafting. So just wanted everybody to relax a little bit. But before we get into our very first Drew Holiday move, do me a favor. If it's your first time here, or if you're a returner and you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button for me and then hit that little notification bell so you know the next time we're dropping some more Celtics content. But speaking of content, terrible transition, Drew Holiday, let's send him to Sacramento. There's been a lot of reports coming out from the Light the Beam bros that they are trying to find a playmaking guard to put around this team. Because if you look at their current roster for the Light the Beam Kings, you get Zach LaVine, who's making $48 million a year. That's a lot of money. You got Saboner, he's making $42 million a year. You got DeRozan, who's over there, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray. They've got Jonas Valanciunas as a backup. They've got the young, he's going to be a second-year guy, Devin Carter, who missed the first half of the year because he was hurt. He's actually pretty nice. And then they get some defensive guys. They've got Keon Ellis and Terrence Davis over there. So they really need a point guard. After trading De'Aaron Fox, and do you guys remember Tyrese Halliburton used to be a King? But after trading De'Aaron Fox, they really just were like, we're not going to use a guard. Malik Monk, who really is like a 6-man of the year candidate every year, was forced to be playing a lot of PG. I don't think that's really what they want. Somebody like Drew Holiday makes a ton of sense. Now, there's a couple of different ways you go, but I think the way that I would target is to bring back DeMar DeRozan, because DeRozan is pretty redundant over there with Zach LaVine. We saw Chicago do this, and because the Kings are run like a poverty franchise, they were like, why don't we do the same thing the Chicago Bulls did, even though they weren't successful? So congrats, Vivek. But I think DeRozan only he makes $24 million this year, and he'll make $25 million next year. So by making this deal, the Celtics immediately shed almost $8 million. And again, I believe the goal is to get under 10 or 12 million. So to get 20 million, excuse me, but to get 8 million back right there is pretty nice. And you get DeRozan, who again would be pretty complimentary. Now, DDR doesn't really bring a ton to the defensive end, but again, not signing up for 3 or 4 years. It's just this year or next year. I think that could make a ton of sense. He's also somebody that could get flipped again, because when you look at the rest of their roster, there's not a lot of other opportunities, I think, to save money there, because I don't think they're going to be giving up on Keegan Murray yet, who is an expiring contract. He's only making $11 million, but you're about to give him some money to stay. And if you're trading for a younger asset like that, I think you'd want to keep Keegan Murray. I don't see them moving off Malik Monk, although I do think if I click a couple of buttons here, let's see if Malik Monk straight up would work. He's only making $18.7 million. We'd have to send over, we'd have to take on $5 more million. So you could do something, and they don't actually, you couldn't do anything. So really you would just have to be a DeRozan. And then, I don't know, maybe the Celtics could finagle a pick. If we look at what Sacramento has left for upcoming picks, they have their own 2026 pick. Then they've got a 27. They've got most of their picks, actually. Some the Spurs pick in 2027 from the De'Aaron Fox deal. I don't see them moving off of that one, but there are some picks that you could finagle in there to spruce it up if the Kings are that desperate. Which, again, the Kings just make so many bad decisions, so I think it could work. I think one of the more realistic ones are the Los Angeles Clippers. Again, we've talked about this quite a bit, but if you send Drew over there, I just think it makes a ton of sense with guys like you've got Kawhi, you've got James Harden. You've got Zubac, right? Like that's a pretty strong core. Drew fits so nicely next to James Harden as just like a defensive juggernaut over there. And there's a couple of different ways that you could approach this. So the first one that I looked at, which is different from, I don't think this has been out there too much, is to put Norman Powell in that deal. So Norman Powell is making $20.4 million, but it's an expiring contract. So this is it. This is it for Norm. He's probably like, I think he's probably peaked a little bit. I don't know if like he's got another all-star year. I mean, he almost made the all-star this past year. He was incredible. Then he picked up an injury like right before the all-star break, and it really slowed him down the second half of the year. But I'm a big fan of Norman Powell's game, but I'm really a big fan of the fact that he's only making $20 million, right? So we'd have to throw in one other piece in there, a $3.3 million piece from the Clippers to make this deal work here. As you can see, I'm clicking buttons in real time. I know you can't see it, but you could throw in the center Drew Eubanks to make that work and then just move off of Eubanks right away. So basically, we'd get Norman Powell and Eubanks back for Drew Holiday. And then again, yeah, you'd have to shed that Eubanks contract, which is also an expiring contract. So yes, you're taking on the $20 million from Norm and the $4 million from Mr. Eubanks. You're saving $7 million, and you could just, both of those are expiring, so that's pretty nice. Now, if you don't want to go the Norman Powell route, which I totally understand because you're like, that's not what we're trying to do, you could get two other pieces that, again, would be super movable. You got Bogdan Bogdanovic, who makes like $16 million. You could look at Derek Jones Jr., who makes $10 million, and Chris Dunn, that makes $5 million. Really, any sort of two-man game of those pieces could, and Eubanks, as we also mentioned, so really all four of those guys. There's a bunch of different moves you can make there. None of those pieces you're getting back outside of Norman Powell are really going to help you win right now. That is just straight up cash. You're just saving money there. That's what you're trying to do. And again, those like Bogey, Derek Jones Jr., Chris Dunn, Eubanks, all of those besides Norman Powell, really you could just try to send to a third party. I mean, I think Bogey is actually solid. I don't mind Bogdan Bogdanovic. But like Eubanks, Derek Jones Jr. is fine too, but he doesn't really count as a front court piece, I think, for the Celtics. But I don't know. Any of those situations I think makes a ton of sense. I also like sending Drew to a situation where I think he'd be able to compete. And I do. I mean, like the West is, I wouldn't say wide open, right? But the Clippers were like very close to taking out the Denver Nuggets, who were very close to taking out the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I don't know how the properties of science work there, but like ipso facto, Clippers almost won the NBA Finals. But I do think Drew would make a ton of sense over there. Now, this is the one that I'm the most excited about. I don't think Miami's going to say yes. I'm going to put this out there right now. So just in case this gets into like the Miami algorithm, okay, if Will Smith starts popping bottles, I know you're probably going to say no to this, but I just want to throw it out there, okay? So in this scenario, let's send Drew Holiday to Miami. Maybe he likes the weather, okay? He likes the food down there, the nightlife. Let's get him down there with Tyler Hero. This is the trade, okay? And again, I don't know if they say yes. So we send over Drew Holiday. We might have to throw in a pick or something. And we get back Terry Rozier. Scary Terry, welcome back. I'll go dig out that t-shirt I got from the playoff run like 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even longer, honestly, at this point. We get back Terry Rozier, who makes $26 million. Now, that's an expiring contract, though. That's pretty much gone. But then we get the second year guy back, the big man, Kel'el Ware, who's on a rookie deal, making $4.4 million. I don't know if you guys have watched much of Miami this past season. Kel'el Ware is a nice piece. Like, he's over 7 feet tall. He's still definitely young and raw, but he can shoot the three ball. He's incredible around the rim, a real good shot blocker. I'm so high on Kel'el Ware. Eric Spoelstra was not high on Kel'el Ware. Obviously, he knows more ball than I do, but Spo, you see this with a lot of coaches, though. Like when they're trying to win games, they're like, we're not going to play these young guys. We're just not going to. And he found himself very frustrated with Ware quite a few times. Because, again, as a young guy, you're going to miss some assignments. You're going to be a little confused out there. But I do think he's got just immense talent. So, again, I think we probably have to throw in another pick in there to make this happen. But I'm okay doing that because I think Kel'el Ware both can help you like win now, especially in the situation the Celtics are in right now, where I think they're going to compete, but not like at a finals level caliber, so just let this guy blossom and develop. That's essentially trading for a first-round pick. I believe he was taken, I don't know, was he like 13th or 14th last season? I'm in the bag for Kel'el Ware, so I would love to see this happen. Again, I think Miami's probably a little bit more hesitant, but Terry Rozier is not really helping. But again, it's an expiring contract. It gets you out of the Drew Holiday deal. Maybe Miami still thinks they can compete. Maybe they're still luring superstars here during during the trade market. I don't know. But last but not least, let's go to the mountains of Salt Lake City, the Utah Jazz and Danny Ainge, Austin Ainge. I don't know. Are there any other Ainges around? Give us a hand here. There's a couple of different options here. So let's look at Utah's like roster right now. You got Lauri Markkanen, who's making $46 million a year. He just extended. He's not on the Celtics radar. John Collins has a player option right now. It's like a $26 million expiring contract. So John Collins, if he opts in, could absolutely be traded to Boston. And you could just straight up do John for Drew. John for Drew. And the Celtics would be saving like $5 million, but also getting off of the long-term deal of Drew Holiday to get John Collins for just 1 year. And JC, are you with me? John Collins makes a little bit of sense just because, again, we are so thin in the front court. But let's assume we don't do that. These are some of the other pieces that Utah's for sure trying to trade that could help. I'm not like super excited about it, but whatever. You got Colin Sexton. He's making $18 million. This is his last year of his deal, expiring contract. Jordan Clarkson is making $14 million. Same thing, expiring contract. You got Kenyon Martin Jr., who's got $8 million. That's an expiring contract. Taylor Hendricks, who is coming off a brutal broken leg, but should be ready to go to start the season. He's got 2 years left. He's got this year and next year, making $6 million and $7 million. Cody Williams, I don't think they'd be moving off of him. Walker Kessler, who we talked about, which I don't think is going to be a landing spot for the Celtics. They got Keontae George. I don't think they're moving off of him. Svi Mykhailiuk, which I can't believe is his name. Kyle Filipowski, Johnny Juzang, Bryce Sensabaugh Collier. But the real reason I brought these up is because I do think you could do something like a Colin Sexton and then a young guy like Taylor Hendricks for Drew Holiday. I think you could do something like that. I don't necessarily see Utah giving up any picks here, but they are probably trying to accumulate some more assets. So getting somebody like Drew and then maybe rerouting him is definitely a possibility. Again, I'm not like super thrilled about Sexton or Hendricks, but that like financially definitely helps out Boston quite a bit, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And I'm curious like where people are at with Drew, and like that report earlier this week about the Celtics being interested in at least a first round pick for Drew. I'm just not sure, like if you think about the teams that would be going after Drew Holiday, this first round pick essentially is like a second round pick, right? Because it's going to be a team like the ones we pointed out. I mean, the Kings, I don't think they'd be giving up a first, but it's going to be teams that are competing, right? Like the Clippers, I assume. I know Dallas gets thrown in there a lot. And unless it's like a way, way future first round pick, it's most likely going to be a late first because these teams are going to be good. So I don't know. I kind of like. I'd be curious to hear what other people thought. I think the Sacramento one stands out to me quite a bit. The Miami one is the one I'm most excited about. I like the idea of getting a young player like Khalil Ware and then the Terry Rozier contract just to make it make sense. But that's my favorite. Clippers financially makes the most sense and is probably the most likely. We didn't include Dallas. Dallas is one that we've talked about in previous videos, and we did it recently, so I didn't want to bring it up. But that one would need to include a third team, and it's basically like a Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington situation for Drew Holiday. That I think is very likely. I like that one a lot too. But I think like for the Celtics actually like becoming good, like getting good players back, I really like the either Sacramento or Dallas. And then the Clippers financially makes the most sense, and it also allows us to get some more assets after moving off of those pieces. And then Miami is my pie in the sky. If you guys haven't watched Khalil Ware, just like Google some Khalil Ware highlights. They are a lot of fun. But anyways, that's going to do it for our Drew Holiday exploration today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment. Who's your favorite Drew Holiday target? Whether it's somebody I talked about or someone that I haven't yet to talk about, put it in the comments. Make sure you hit the subscribe on the way out and enjoy the weekend.